The blue one we'll do later on, right? Take out the first one. Yeah. Let me tell you how we'll take this class on. It has got a total of 8 pages. First 4 pages are images. Page number 5, 6, 7, 8. Right? Page number 5, 6, 7, 8 are the points for you to read. I'm getting this mail very often, sir, what to read for MCI screening test in orthopedics. Orthopedics being a small subject, and we don't know what exactly to revise just before we go for exam in June. And I got a mail which told me, पीछे आवाज नहीं आती, 2 papers, ठीक है? One is the blue paper, ignore it. The second paper is more important. The first 4 pages of this paper, right, are images. And page number 5 onwards are points that you need to know. ज़रूरत नहीं है, मैं उसके बिना पढ़ूँगा. Right? Next 4 pages are for points that you need to revise before your exam. एक बार निकालिए page number 5, take it out. So before we do images, let us understand what all MCQs are coming in orthopedics, because the images that you would get will be related to the MCQs that you are getting. So first half an hour, let's understand these 4 pages. For example, one MCQ you get, what is the meaning of word orthopedics? Right? Ortho means straight, pedics means child. So orthopedics means straight child. And this word was given by Nicholas Andre, the scientist. He is called as father of orthopedics. लिख लो यहाँ पे, write down. Nicholas Andre is called as father of orthopedics. You have to write down everything in this paper only, madam. बाहर कुछ लिखना allowed ही नहीं है आपको. Because what I expect is, once you go for your exam, you're just revising this paper for me. That's all. All right? Second point, periosteal reaction is seen in acute osteomyelitis on day 7 to day 10. What is more important for you to know is, write down here, earliest change of osteomyelitis on X-rays is, where's your paper, sir? ले लो बेटा, go and get it. Earliest change of osteomyelitis on X-rays is loss of soft tissue planes. There are soft tissue planes on which are seen on X-rays. Their loss is the earliest change that you see. Loss of soft tissue planes. Bone scan, right? Next point. Bone scan is showing you osteoblastic activity. All right. So it is seen here that what is written here, see here, avascular necrosis appears as cold areas on bone scan. Can you see that? Yes or no? Yes. Right. So when you have avascular necrosis, avascular means without blood supply. Necrosis means death of a bone. So when you have death of a bone without blood supply, there would not be any osteoblastic activity. Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes. And what is bone scan showing you? Osteoblastic activity. So that is why on avascular necrosis on bone scan, you don't have any activity. So you have cold areas. That is called as no activity. So write down here, avascular necrosis appears as cold areas on bone scan because there is no osteoblastic activity. Because there is no osteoblastic activity. Coming again to this point, I am repeating it again. Bone scan shows you osteoblastic activity. All right. Wherever osteoblasts will be active, it will be shown on bone scan. If the osteoblasts are not active, bone scan will not pick it up. That is called as cold area. And that is what happens when the death of a bone takes place, because osteoblasts are not there. So that is why in your MCQs it comes, how does avascular necrosis show on bone scan? And the answer is cold areas. Okay. Next point, developmental dysplasia of hip, which was earlier called as congenital dislocation of hip. The investigation of choice is MRI. If MRI is not given in your MCQ, then only you will mark ultrasound. It is incorrectly mentioned in a lot of books that ultrasound is investigation of choice. That is not correct. Make a star over this point, because this is a controversial area which you will try to get corrected. Okay? Over time you will be convinced that whatever I am telling you here is not correct and what is given in your books is correct. It's not that. So kindly make star over the points which are different from the books that are mentioning your MCQs. So remember this one, this is an important one. Next. Paronychia is one of the most common infections of hand, and it is basically infection of nail bed. See here, when you have infection of nail bed here, that is called as a paronychia. And the organism, always remember in orthopedics it is Staphylococcus aureus. मेरे साथ सब लोग बोलेंगे, all of you will speak with me, ortho. जोर से ortho. और जोर से ortho. Staphylococcus. Staphylococcus. Ortho. So orthopedics, whenever they ask you any organism, the answer is going to be Staphylococcus. Right? आप लोग at any cost are not going to apply your brain and think of anything else. Right? Sir, what's your name? Puneet. Infection of vertebral bodies. Most common organism? Sir. Repeating again, infection of vertebral bodies. Sir, ma'am, sir, sir. जोर से बोलेंगे सब. Staph aureus. Next line. Sir. Fantastic. You will not apply your brain and think it is tuberculosis. Don't do that. All right. In your MCQs, when this question comes out and it is written, infection of the vertebral body or infection of the spine, most common organism is, you think about this that it's tuberculosis. It's not. It is always Staph aureus. So in orthopedics, it's always Staph aureus. Whether it is any place in 206 bones or it is involvement of the soft tissue areas like paronychia, the organism that we need to know is Staph aureus. And you get very frequently a repeated MCQ on the same thing. All right. So paronychia is most common infection of hand. It is infection of nail bed of fingers and it is caused by Staphylococcus aureus. Next point, Phelon or Whitlow. These are two names of the same thing. Is infection of pulp space of fingers. All right. This is a question that comes to you. What is a Phelon? And the answer is it's an infection of pulp space of fingers. This area, pulp space. Infection is called as Phelon. Other name is Whitlow. Again, the organism is Staph aureus. So overall, also for osteomyelitis, again the most common organism is Staphylococcus aureus. The most common route through which the Staphylococcus aureus will come to a bone will be through blood. Always remember, organisms come to the bones through the blood. So hematogenous spread is there. Whether it is Staph aureus or tuberculosis, any organism coming to bones will be through the blood, right? And the area which it affects, the area which Staph aureus affects is metaphysis. Underline that, metaphysis. Most common route of spread is blood and most common location is metaphysis. And if they ask you in exam where exactly, so lower end of femur, that is around the knee metaphysis, that is the commonest area. So distal end of femur metaphysis is the commonest area. Clear? Next point is the name of arthritis, Tom Smith arthritis. Tom Smith arthritis refers to right? Tom Smith arthritis refers to infection and destruction of a joint in infancy. So it is septic arthritis of hip in infancy, less than 1 year of age. All right. What you need to remember is, normally when you have infections of the joint, they make the joint stiff. But in this case, in less than 1 year of age, when you have arthritis or infection of a joint, in such a case, the hip joint is destroyed, causing it to become hypermobile. So write down, the joints are hypermobile. All right, so the joints are hypermobile. Coming to next, you have acute osteomyelitis, you have chronic osteomyelitis. In between the two, you have subacute osteomyelitis. Incorrectly mentioned in your books that Brody's abscess is chronic osteomyelitis is actually a subacute osteomyelitis. So highlight this point. This is the second area where you will have points differing in your books. So Brody's abscess is subacute osteomyelitis. All right. Coming to the next thing, coming to tuberculosis. Tuberculosis of bone and joints, right? The commonest area where it affects is spine, and it is called as pot spine after the scientist who described it, right? And when there is involvement of the spine, it always involves two vertebrae. So that is called as paradiscal involvement. Write down here only, single vertebral involvement is not seen. Single vertebral involvement is not seen. Again, the next point is same. The spread is hematogenous. All right. The earliest presentation will be pain, and tuberculosis, as like anywhere in the body, can have night cries here also, right? So there can be night cries. Clinical presentation is the earliest, is the pain. The MCQ that comes to you again is similar to the one we have discussed earlier. Earliest change of tuberculosis of spine on X-ray, right? Highlight this point, is straightening of the spine curves. This is the third point that you need to know, which is not correctly given in your books. Make a star over it. ठीक है जी? That's another point which is extremely important, and you get a repeated MCQ on this. The first sign is straightening of spinal curves, and the second is, write down after it, followed by reduced joint space, reduced disc space, followed by reduced disc space. That's the second sign on X-rays. So in your books it's given that reduced disc space is number 1. That's not correct. It is the second common. All right. So reduced disc space is number 2. Another thing, when you have single joint involvement in India, when you have an involvement, like somebody comes to you and say, I have got only pain in my right knee or right hip, all right, or left elbow. When you have single joint involvement only, right, your number 1 differential diagnosis in India will be tuberculosis. That is called as monoarticular involvement is seen in tubercular arthritis. Monoarticular involvement is seen in tubercular arthritis. Right? When you have involvement of tuberculosis of hip, causing proliferation of the synovium, that is called as synovitis. That synovium requires more space inside the hip joint. Our hip joint has a limited capacity, but if something wants to get in, more things wants to get in, it needs to increase its capacity. And for that hip joint to increase its capacity, it needs to undergo flexion, abduction, external rotation. So when it goes into flexion, abduction, external rotation, the capacity in the hip joint increases to include more things. So that is what is written here. Tuberculosis hip, stage of synovitis, there is Faber. Faber means flexion, abduction, external rotation. Are we clear on this? Yes or no? Yes. Similarly, specifically in MCI, they ask you this question: what is triple deformity at the knee joint? It is written here: posterior subluxation, flexion and external of the knee joint. It is remembered by a mnemonic PERF. Likh lo, PERF. P is posterior subluxation, ER is external rotation, and F is flexion. So it's remembered by this mnemonic PERF, and this is seen in tuberculosis of the knee joint. Right? So triple deformity is seen in tuberculosis of knee joint. Next 2 points are again single liners that are asked to you. What is Kéri-Sicca? That is called as tuberculosis of shoulder, is called as Kéri-Sicca. And what is spina ventosa? That is tuberculosis of the fingers, that's called as spina ventosa. Why Kéri-Sicca is called as Sicca? Because it is dry. There is no effusion. Sicca means dry. So Kéri-Sicca is tuberculosis of shoulder, because tuberculosis of shoulder is dry. That's why it's called as Kéri-Sicca. So yahan likh lo, TB shoulder is dry. That's why it's called as Kéri-Sicca. When a joint fuses, it can be because of two things. Either the surgeon fuses it or the disease fuses it. When the disease fuses it, it is called as ankylosis. When the surgeon fuses, it is called as arthrodesis. All right? So write down here, arthrodesis is surgical fusion. यहाँ पे जगह है बहुत सारी, you can see a lot of space there. Write down, arthrodesis is surgical fusion. Ankylosis is pathological fusion. Arthrodesis is surgical fusion. Ankylosis is pathological fusion. All right? So arthrodesis is surgical fusion, ankylosis is pathological fusion, and next 3 points are very important for you. Most common cause of bony ankylosis is pyogenic arthritis. When gram-positive organisms damage the joint, they damage the cartilage over the joint, the whole cartilage is gone, the bone is exposed, and the bone fuses to the bone. That's called as bony ankylosis. All right? And the commonest cause of this is pyogenic arthritis. When tuberculosis affects the spine, that is pot spine, it also causes bony ankylosis. But when tuberculosis affects the other joints, it is not a bony fusion, you achieve a fibrous fusion. What is the difference between the two? Anybody? Difference between bony and fibrous ankylosis. Which one is painful? Fibrous has got F. Bolo F. F. Fibrous. Jor se. F. Fibrous. Painful. F. So again, painful as F. So fibrous is painful. Bony ankylosis is painless. Write down. Bony ankylosis is painless and fibrous is painful. Clear? So what you see here is, speak with me, most common, Jor say most common, cause of bony ankylosis, pyogenic arthritis, TB spine, bony ankylosis, other areas, fibrous ankylosis. तो इसको याद करने का तरीका बोलो S, S, spine, S, solid, bony, solid. So bony thing is solid. So S for spine, S for solid, bony fusion will be solid. Clear? So wherever you have tuberculosis of spine, you will have bony ankylosis. Everywhere else in the body, you will have fibrous ankylosis. You get MCQs on this point very frequently. All right. Now coming to oncology, bone tumors are super hit for MCI, and you get a lot of MCQs from this area. The usual question that comes to you is which body area is affected, like epiphysis, metaphysis, or diaphysis. So chondroblastoma is an epiphyseal tumor. Osteosarcoma is a metaphyseal tumor. Most common sarcoma of bone in children is Ewing sarcoma. Make a star over this point. Right? This is another point that you must remember very well. Write down in the bracket, Ewing sarcoma most commonly affects the second decade. It most commonly affects the second decade. Your books are suggesting it is most commonly affecting the first decade. That is not correct. It most commonly affects the second decade. Second decade means 11 to 20, all right? Shepard-Crook deformity is seen in fibrous dysplasia. Let's understand what do you mean by Shepard-Crook deformity. The upper end of femur normally looks like this. But when the bony trabeculae are replaced by the fibrous trabeculae, that's called as fibrous dysplasia, right? This becomes weak, and this is the shape it attains. This is a stick that a shepherd carries in his hands, right? And that's why it's called as Shepard-Crook deformity. So Shepard-Crook deformity is seen in fibrous dysplasia at upper end of femur. लिख लो वहाँ पे, is seen in fibrous dysplasia, and write down at upper end of femur. Are we good on this? आगे चलें? Right. Soap bubble appearance is seen in giant cell tumor followed by adamantinoma. If I look at PG MCQs, in PG MCQs, there's never been a question where you have to choose between giant cell tumor and adamantinoma. But in MCI, you have questions where you have both the choices and you have to select one. So if you have to select one, then giant cell tumor is preferred over adamantinoma. One more thing you remember, giant cell tumor is epiphyseal, adamantinoma is diaphyseal. Write down in the bracket. GCT is epiphyseal, adamantinoma is a diaphysis. You understand epiphysis, metaphysis, diaphysis? Every bone has got different areas. Every bone has different areas. This is epiphysis. This is the physis or the growth plate. This is metaphysis. This is diaphysis. Right? So GCT occurs here and adamantinoma occurs here. Both have got soap bubble appearance. So when you are answering an MCQ, try to find out this word. If they talk upper end of a bone, then this is upper end of a bone. Epiphysis, physis, metaphysis, they are called as upper end of a bone. And when they call middle of a bone, that means diaphysis. So in MCQ, it is not essential. They will mention to you that you have soap bubble appearance in epiphysis or metaphysis or diaphysis. What they'll say is, in the middle of a bone, there is soap bubble appearance. What is your diagnosis? It's going to be adamantinoma because middle is diaphysis. At the end of a bone, there is soap bubble appearance. What is it going to be? It's going to be giant cell tumor. Is it clear? Crystal clear? If they don't mention which area, GCT is preferred over adamantinoma. Good? आगे चलते हैं. Next point. Mottled calcification is seen in chondrosarcoma. Right? Mottled means what? When you have calcification, if you have calcification of a body, of an area which is uniform throughout, that's called as uniform, homogeneous calcification. And when you have calcification at places, that's called as mottled calcification. So mottled calcification is a feature of chondrosarcoma. Right? Coming next to periosteal reaction, sun ray appearance is seen in osteosarcoma.